All right, that means I didn't get to look at my notes while I was sitting here. So what are we talking about today? Letting it go. So today is a continuation really of last week. So you weren't all here last week, so I need to just do a very brief recap. Last week was my word is power. A couple of the phrases that I used last week was one that is mine, because I said so. And I reminded us it's not the kind of because I said so that you might say to little children. It's the because I said so that is the power. Because I said so. That sense of conviction. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. But what I know, and what anybody who's been doing this for a long time knows, is that changing your thinking sounds really good, not an always easy thing to do, because we have old, stuck junk. Changing our thinking, changing our life is exactly right, and we have to sometimes be gentle, and sometimes not gentle. Sometimes we have to say, my word is power, because I said so, and that's what I had us doing last week, because I said so. I reminded us that we all have a superpower, and that's God power. We're all using God power all the time. We don't want to play puny and think that it's just little old me trying to get to this world. We've got a superpower, and that's our God power. We use the God power through our thinking, through our feeling, through the choices we make, through the actions that we take. Those things are all how we are engaging the God power. And we say, first of all, through our thought. Because our thought informs our feelings, and our feelings inform our actions, etc. They all tie together, but that's how we're using that all the time. And for those of you who like the how-tos, I gave us how-tos last week, so let's look at them again. The how-tos were, be aware that the reciprocal nature of law is always working. It's always working. You have no say about it. It just is. Choose your thoughts that align with what you want to experience, because the reciprocal law is always working. If you say, oh, God, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, oh, I'm so sick, I'm so sick, I'm so sick, that's what you're choosing all the time. The nature of the law is always working. So choosing our thoughts that align with what we want to experience, using our affirmations as reminders. To me, that's all that is, plain and simple. It's a reminder to say something over and over and over to yourself, no matter what it is, to remind ourselves of a new truth. And then to feel grateful even before manifestation. This is where it's hard begins. How do I feel grateful for something, Sean, when it's not in my life? You imagine it. You imagine that it is in your life. You visualize it in your life. You see it in your mind's eye. And you start to engage that feeling of, oh my gosh, that feels so good. As you start to imagine it, you are putting that word out into the reciprocal law. Pretty soon, it's going to show up. It works that way when we stay focused. So feeling grateful before something happens means we have to do it in our imagination, in our thoughts, in our visualizations. And then course correct as soon as you realize you're off track. I don't know about you, but when I was a brand new student, I didn't course correct very gracefully. I got mad at myself. I'm like, oh, I should know better. I do know better, so let me just get right back on track. Because getting ourselves upset and getting mad at ourselves doesn't help, right? So these are the how-tos pretty much of how to engage this superpower. Be aware, choose our thoughts, use our affirmations, feel grateful, and course correct the minute we feel we're off. Now today, this leads into where we're going today, which is the let it go aspect. There's a number of different applications of let it go, so I want to tell you where I'm at with this. Sometimes someone may use it like this. Well, this person is annoying me, I'll let it go. Or this person at work is bossing me around, I'll let it go. Or in my case, I'm on the freeway and this person just does something really dumb, let it go. Some people use it that way, but that's not where I'm going today. Okay, that's a really good way, just let it go, let it go. But I'm approaching it, I was going to say attacking it. I'm approaching it from a different point of view. Specifically, the amazing power that comes from letting go into what we call the spiritual law. That's where our amazing power is. And there's two major components. The first one was last week. The first one is all about choosing our beliefs, choosing our thoughts, making those choices. We're using the infinite mind all the time. Infinite mind is a synonym for God, if you will. There's an infinite intelligence, an infinite mind, and we're using it all the time. So just like last week, that's the first component. We speak our word believing that something is going to happen. This thing called life, I'm actually in the process of preparing a 4-week class with this little tiny book. And I'll let you know about that later. This thing called Life from Ernest Holmes, a beautiful little book, easy to read. Here's what he says. So I just now got through saying that we speak our word. That's the first component. It is now the business of the power, capital P, of the power, to execute this decree. You've spoken your word. It is now the business of the power to execute this decree, and you may have implicit confidence that it will do so. That last part, we may have implicit confidence that it will do so. Easier said than done, because we lose our implicit confidence that it will do so sometimes. Speak our word. It is now the business of the power to execute this decree, and we may have implicit faith that it will do so. Now, a lot of churches, a lot of religions teach some aspect of let go and let God. Let go and let God. So I was thinking, okay, so what's the difference here? We're saying the same thing, let go and let God. This is how I understand the difference. When I was taught let go and let God in a different tradition, what I was really being told was, God has a better plan for you. God has a bigger will for you. You better let God make your choices. That's kind of what it was, how it was taught. Let go and let God was a different idea. It's God's will for you that you do or have such and such. Let go and let God do that in your life. Okay, well, how do we feel it here? How do we understand it here? Well, let me get to the second component. It's called release. So we're going to speak our word and we're going to release. We're going to let go into the automatic working of the infinite mind. Number one up there, it's always working. We're going to release into that each time. So our understanding of speaking our word and releasing and then saying let go and let God is not let go and let some other power come into my life. It's the idea that I now am going to release my word into the workings of law, into the workings of God. And so it's a joint effort. It's not some power outside of us working through us. It's a joint effort. I speak my word. I know what thoughts I want to have show up in my life. And now I'm going to let go. And here's how it looks to me if I do it visual. I speak my word into law. And I'm creating the container, to use a word from 2 months ago. We create our container. I speak my word, it becomes the container that the law now fills. As I speak this word, and I see that, okay, from here on out, I have implicit confidence that it will do so. There's nothing else I need to do. But here's what we often do. Ready? I spoke my word, I'm going to put it out to law, but I want to keep control of it. I think I know better. I'm going to have control. I'm going to keep control. I like the visuals because sometimes they say more than the words can say. This implies doubt and fear. I speak my word. My word becomes the container that the spiritual law can fill. And now that I know this is happening, that little piece is sometimes where I say it's easier said than done. Because we want to do this instead. We come back to our affirmation. I speak my word. I know that the word is the container. I know the spiritual law now fills it. I have implicit faith that it will do so, and I let go. Over and over and over and over. Until something begins to shift in us. I have used my experience learning to love flying. And I'm going to use it again today because I want you to understand how I feel that difference. And then you'll go, to your life. The other idea of letting go, this person's annoying me and I'm going to let that go. That's what I used to do. I'd get to the airport and I would try so hard, I'm going to let go of this fear, I want to let go of this fear, I want to let go of this fear, I want to let go of this fear. That's what it kept me focused on. Fear. That helps for a certain extent. I'm going to let go of this fear, but if we keep on it, we just keep getting more of it. So let's say I'm successful at emptying some of that out, and now I've got this void, if you will. So the next thing is to speak my word. and then to let it go with implicit faith. So my word now is, I love to fly and I'm safe.